welcome back to Unimonks. My name is Padmanjali Chauhan and I'll be teaching you for the CUET history domain. Today we're going to continue with the last part of the second chapter. Alright? So the first thing we're going to talk about is the urban population. Okay, now we already know that the kings and elites lived in cities, in fortified cities. Alright? Now the thing is that these cities like Patliputra and Mathura are still inhabited. So doing excavations there was a little bit of a problem for archaeologists, alright. So whatever little excavations they did there and around the cities, the following things have been found from it, okay. Number one, fine pottery bowls. Apart from that, northern black polished ware, okay. This is what northern black polished ware looked like. Now this commodity was a rare finding, okay. So from that we have inferred that only rich elite people possessed these items, alright. Apart from that, ornaments, tools, weapons, etc. were also found, and materials like gold, silver, copper and bronze were found as well, okay. Now in the 2nd century BCE, we see votive inscriptions, okay. Votive inscriptions are records of transactions that took place, of donations given to religious institutions, okay. Given to religious institutions, alright. Now these votive descriptions mention the name of the donor plus their occupation, okay, so what they did. Now for example, the name of the donor was Ramlal and his occupation was, he was a weaver, or he could be a potter, okay, or he was a trader, anything like that, okay. Apart from this, inscriptions have told us about guilds and shrenis, okay. Guilds or shrenis are organizations of people that have the same occupation, okay. So weavers have a guild and potters have a guild, alright. Now these inscriptions tell us the following things about the guilds and shrenis. Number one, they procured raw material, okay. Number two, they regulated production of the items, and lastly, they marketed the finished product made out of the raw material, alright. Now, trade in the subcontinent and beyond. Obviously, if the Harappans traded in the subcontinent and beyond it, the rulers of 6th, 5th, 4th, 2nd century BCE must have traded as well, right? Now in the 6th century BCE, we see an extensive development of land and riverine routes, okay. Now overland routes were into Central Asia, so they started from here, anywhere in the subcontinent, into Central Asia, okay. And overseas routes started from two main points, the Arabian Sea and the Bay of Bengal, okay. The Arabian Sea routes went into Eastern North Africa and West Asia, as you can see from here. And the routes that started from the Bay of Bengal went into Southeast Asia and China, okay? Right, we can see it from here, right? Now, peddlers and merchants with caravans, this is with, W-I-T-H, with caravans traveled on the land routes, okay? And seafarers traveled on the sea routes. Now, the business of the seafarers is very risky, okay. Number one, anything could happen at sea, or any sort of natural calamity. The current could change, there could be a tsunami, alright. So, also they could get looted while they were at sea as well, right. So, obviously a very risky business, but because of the risk, it was equally as profitable as well, okay. Now, the seafarers in Tamil were called Masatuvan, and in Prakrit, they were called Sethis or Satyavahas, alright. Now the goods that these people traded was salt, grain, cloth, metal ores, medicinal plants, stone, timber and spices, okay. Spices, especially pepper, was in extremely high demand in the Roman Empire, okay. Now, coins and kings. Coins tell us one very important thing, okay, how rich the empire was, okay. The material that is used to make the coin could be gold, could be silver. These two are very rare commodities, right? Till date, they're very expensive commodities, okay? So if you know that people from that kingdom, if they traded in gold and silver coins, that means the kingdom was very prosperous, okay? It was a peaceful kingdom because they were not spending their money on war supplies. They used their money for economic transactions, right? So there was peace. They were not constantly at war with other people, correct? So coins obviously facilitated exchange, right? Now, punchmark coins were made out of silver and copper, and we see the earliest being minted and used in the 6th century BCE, okay? The symbols of the ruling dynasties suggest that the coins were issued by kings, okay? For example, the Mauryas, the Guptas, okay? Apart from this, there have been evidences of bankers issuing coins as well, okay? Tradespeople issuing coins as well, okay? The first coin was issued by the Indo-Greeks in the 2nd century BCE, and the Indo-Greeks, we talked about them in the last class, right? The Kushans, the Shakas, and the Kushans were the first to issue gold coins in the 1st century CE, okay? Now, the widespread use of coins also tells us about the enormous amount of transactions that took place between two kingdoms, okay? Between India and between the Indian subcontinent and the other kingdoms or civilizations that were present at the time, okay? Coins were issued by tribal republics as well, all right? We see coins issued by the Yodhyas of Punjab and Haryana, all right? Punjab/Haryana. Now, the Yodhyas were tribal republics of Punjab and Haryana, and this tells us that even they were interested in and participated in economic activities, all right, in economic exchange, okay? Now, spectacular gold coins were issued by the Gupta rulers, especially Samudragupta. An example of these coins are here. Number 1, made out of gold, okay? Secondly, the intricate carving, okay? So you know that the artisans belonging to that kingdom were also very extremely skilled, okay? Now, in the 6th century CE, we see a decline in the use of gold coins. Now, there are two main theories about it. Number 1, the Roman Empire has started collapsing, okay? This has led to a decline in long distance trade, okay? And secondly, Roman Empire collapsing is fine, but new networks of trade have also been set up because of that, okay? And that probably means that instead of coins getting hoarded in one place, okay, within one kingdom, they were circulated even more, all right? Now, deciphering scripts. We talked about this in the first video as well, but let's go a little more in depth about it, okay? Now, deciphering, the first we'll talk about is Brahmi, okay? Modern Indian languages are derived from Brahmi. The first use we see of it is in Ashokan scripts, okay? Earliest inscriptions were written in Brahmi only, okay? James Princip deciphered Brahmi in 1838. This is a very important question, especially an objective type question, okay? So remember this, James Princip deciphered Brahmi in 1838, okay? Kharoshthi. Now, the coins of Indo-Greek rulers, they had their names written in 2 languages on those coins, okay? One was Greek and one was Kharoshthi. So now scholars who already knew the Greek language, they compared the letters of the former, which is Greek, to decipher the letters of the latter, which is Kharoshthi. Sorry. To decipher the letters of the latter, which is Kharoshthi, all right? Now, Princip concluded that the language of the Kharoshthi script was Prakrit, all right? Prakrit was the language, Kharoshthi was the script, okay? Now, limitations, last part of the chapter, limitations of inscriptional evidence, okay? A lot of inscriptions have been found, and in the beginning of the chapter, I told you how historians have tried to understand the social changes that took place, the economic and political activities that took place at the time. But the thing is, we have very limited information about this, and I'll tell you why now, okay? So number one are the technical limitations of inscriptions. Letters, the first technical limitation is that the letters were faintly engraved. Now, because of weathering of rocks throughout the centuries, the engravings that were probably deep enough at that time have weathered throughout the centuries, and those engravings have become very faint now, okay? Secondly, the inscriptions may have been damaged and therefore the letters are missing, right? So, if, for example, because of some accident, the inscription got hit or something like that, okay? Two rocks hit each other, one chips off, okay? Because of that, number one, inscription has been damaged. Number two, because a chunk of it has chipped off, a sentence or a word is left incomplete, okay? Therefore, letters are missing. Next, there are multiple interpretations of the same words, okay? This is common in the English and the Hindi language. This is common in every language, okay? Until and unless you don't understand the context of why something was written, you don't understand what the words exactly mean, right? They could be contextually different, okay? They could mean different things, right? That is why there are multiple interpretations of the same word, correct? Now, apart from this, thousands of inscriptions have been discovered, okay? But most of them have not been translated, most of them have not been deciphered, translated and published, okay? And the main reasons for this are the technical limitations, okay? Now, practices of daily existence have not been recorded, okay? Most of these inscriptions were issued by rulers, by kings, right? By the elites of the kingdom, of the empire, okay? And that is why practices of daily existence, like how the ordinary people lived, okay? Why they did certain activities that they did, none of that has been recorded, okay? So we do not know how the ordinary people, how the subjects of the ruler led their life. Next is the commissioner's view has been projected on these inscriptions, right? Now, for example, if we take the Prayag Prashasti, I talked about this in the last video, right? The Prayag Prashasti was written by Harisena and it was commissioned by Samudragupta, right? Now, the Prashasti talks about the greatness of Samudragupta. Harisena was the court poet of Samudragupta, okay? Now, this Prashasti talks about the greatness of Samudragupta, how kind a ruler he was, how learned he was, right? But that information could easily be exaggerated. Why? Because because Harisena, Samudragupta's court poet, has written this about him, right? So obviously he's going to favor his ruler. So we still don't know how much of the information that is on the inscription is true or untrue, all right? Lastly, these inscriptions do not provide a full view of the political and economic history of the kingdoms, okay? They provide very partial information, okay? They give us only one point of view. They tell us about what the kings thought, okay? How the ruling elite, how the rich people lived and what their life was like, okay? But we don't know about the hardships of the ordinary people, right? How they were exploited for all the good things that have happened, right? So it gives us a very partial view of the political and economic history of the time, right? That's it for today, guys. We have finished this chapter as well. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please give this video a thumbs up. If you have more questions about something that I talked about in the video, leave it in the comments down below. I'll try my best to reply to you. And for more such informational content, please subscribe to Unimonks. Thank you. Bye.